Well, hello. Welcome to the new studio here. It's been kind of a crazy week. Tabitha and I have been finally moving into our house in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. And as you can see by the bare walls and the empty spaces, we still have a little bit of a ways to go as far as making it all, fleshed out and homey. But it's been really great being here, and excited to have you guys be kind of the first guest to see the place. I wish I could take my camera rig around the house and show you the rest of it, because it's really awesome. And it's been exciting being a first time home owner, and it's been a positive experience so far, even though the journey to actually getting the house was kind of a nightmare with all the paperwork and the crazy market right now for the housing industry. We're very fortunate to have found this spot and to be able to now call it home. So you'll be seeing a lot of videos from this very room at some point in the future. I hope to get back to filming and editing some more. It's just been kind of crazy with all the moving details, a lot of painting. I have some blue paint on my hands right now. I finished painting the kitchen cabinets last night around midnight, and and I'm hoping to do a lot more with this room here. I'll have to get you guys' ideas on what to do to flesh out this space and make it real interesting. I want to put a lamp back there. That'd be nice, right? Get some ambient lighting going on. Maybe build some bookshelves along these two walls next to the window. I think that'd be kind of fun. Hang a bunch of Mandolin paraphernalia items to make it all nerdy and geeky like I like it. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of developments over the next few weeks here. But and on top of that, it's just been crazy busy with touring. Tabitha's been over in the UK doing some stuff with Midnight Sky Racer, great band from England. I don't know if you guys listen to their stuff. You should definitely check out their music. Got a couple of great records. And then I've been touring a bit more with Mile 12. Was out at Rocky Grass a couple weeks ago, like I mentioned, and then this past weekend was up in the Northeast. It was so fun catching up with a few mandolin players at these shows and getting to share live music in person again, which feels like such a novelty still. Pretty amazing here. But that's what's been going on, and lots more of the same kind of coming up. And I think we're headed to Texas next week, and then Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Irish Fest with Mile 12 and a few other spots. So look forward to connecting with some more of you guys on the road here. But let's see, how you guys doing? Let's see, Chris Flake, happy housewarming. Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. And let's see, Banjo Boston, good morning. Thanks for joining. What's up, Connie? Thanks for joining too. George, what is up, my friend? I hope things are well. Been playing Road to Malvern. I love that tune. Road to Spencer, nice. Birdland Bounce, lots of great ones here. Dean Daniels with us. James William Houghton, it's so good to see you guys. Paul, Timothy, man, you guys are fantastic. Thanks so much for tuning in and for joining us this Saturday morning. Since we've just been kind of easing into this house, I thought it'd be fun to warm it up, so to speak, with some music. I'm really excited to get to play some tunes with you guys, and maybe we could just get started with some jamming right now. I saw Adam's been going to a slow jam recently, which is great for the first time. Congratulations, my friend. That's such a big step, and I know it's kind of scary getting out there and playing music with people again. Even if you've done it before, it takes a little while to get back into it. So that's what I hope we can do today. It's just kind of get a little bit of blood flowing in our fingers and remember those familiar pathways, those familiar tunes that we played back in the day. Or if you've never played with anyone in person before, just building up some confidence and some experience virtually like this, so that when you get to the jam, you can feel a little bit more confident in playing and expressing yourself and having fun, because that's really the main point, just having fun and enjoying it and feeling inspired to continue to play and practice. So that's what we're up to today. Why don't we start off with a real familiar one here. I was looking through our catalog over on Patreon and was just playing this one with a friend and student recently, David Caffrey. If you're out there, David, shout out. Let's check this one out here. Angeline the Baker, right? You guys know this one. I've also heard a bunch of different variations on the name, like Angelina Baker or Angelina the Baker. I don't even know what the right way is, but I remember hearing this one for the first time. I think Sarah Jarose played this at a workshop at Gray Fox, and I just really loved her rendition and was inspired to go learn it and go learn a bunch of other different versions of the tune as well. Another favorite of mine is the fiddle version of Stuart Duncan's that he does with the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And someone was asking earlier about who was playing fiddle on those tracks at the beginning of the stream here. And usually what I do at the beginning here, I just play some of my own music so I don't get copyrighted flagged by playing other music that I like better. But I was very fortunate to get to work with Stuart for a few tracks on that record, and he was a fantastic collaborator, fantastic person to hang out with for a few days in the studio. And if you're looking for an amazing version of Angeline the Baker, check out his version from that Nashville Bluegrass Band record. And he's just like such a pro at taking a really simple melody and making it sound beautiful and intricate without overpowering the melody as well too. That's kind of a gift where you don't want to add in too many notes to a melody because you don't want to overwhelm it or kind of stifle the beautiful simplicity of the tune. But you don't want to play it too simple either and make it sound boring or make it sound too beginner or whatever. And if you're just learning this tune for the first time, it's totally fine to start with a really beginner version. But if you're taking that next step on a tune like this, if you've played it for a while and you want to kick it up a notch, check out the lesson video that we've done on this tune over on YouTube and on Patreon, where we learn this very simple version here at the beginning, just kind of this core skeleton of the melody, and then we add in some extra notes, take some licks from Stuart Duncan and Sarah Jarosz, and make it into a fleshed out experience. So if you're just new to this, check out this the simple version that you see here on screen. And if you know a different version, play along with whatever you've been working on in the past, and we'll have a little jam here. So you guys know this one, right? And if you don't, the chords are really easy. We have D major and G major for our two chords. The A section and the B section are exactly the same chord wise too. So just keep track of where we are by counting and keeping track of how many repeats we're doing on each section. Just 2 A's and 2 B's. And we'll trade off here. We'll play this like a bluegrass tune where maybe I'll start us off with melody and then I'll play back up the next time around. Let you take a turn on this as well. We'll just go back and forth. Since we're warming up here and since this is really kind of the first jam we've had at the house, I just want to take it slow and enjoy it. So let's try maybe something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, your go. Onto the B section. All right, let me try this out. Here we go. All right, let's play this together. Oh yeah, man. That is such a beautiful sounding tune, and I'm sure you guys are sounding great. I wish I could hear you all. But thanks so much for playing along with Angela and the Baker. Let's see how you folks are doing. All right, let's see. Greg Fury's checking in from Outer Banks, North Carolina. That's awesome. And there's an interesting bluegrass festival that happens out there. You know, it's right on the Outer Banks, which is pretty cool. I think they call it like Bluegrass Island or OBX Bluegrass. I forget. But that's the only time I've been out there. But it was really beautiful, and really enjoyed being there. I love. There's a newer movie that came out recently called The Peanut Butter Falcon. I don't know if you guys have heard that one or seen that one. I should say. I say heard because the music on that soundtrack is fantastic. It was actually composed and arranged by I'm drawing a blank. Noam Pakilny and the fiddle player for the Punch Brothers. What am I doing? Gabe Witcher, of course. I know Gabe Witcher. I don't even know him, but I love his playing. And the soundtrack is fantastic. The movie's really good too. It's set in Outer Banks is the reason I bring it up, and the scenery out there is just fantastic. I hope you enjoy that, Greg. Let's see, Boz Reed from Texas. What's up, Boz? Maybe see you when we're coming through Texas in a couple weeks here. I think we're playing a place called the Mucky Duck or the Lucky Duck. I forget. And it'll be our first time playing out there in Texas. So love to see you guys out there. Let's see. Dean Daniel says, awesome that you've moved into the new place. I know it was a long process. I shared this story before, but you know we signed the closing. I guess it was about 4 weeks ago, and that same day, you know, we signed the closing at the lawyer's office, and we both had to get on flights to different parts of the world. Like Tabitha was going out to Northern Ireland again to stay with her family for a couple days before those gigs that she was playing, and then I was out in Colorado. So this is really the first time we've gotten to stay in our house, even though we've owned it for about 3 or 4 weeks. And it's been really great just kind of settling in the past few days here. So thanks for the congratulations. Thanks, Tim. And Rob is saying howdy from Humboldt County, California. That's awesome. And let's see, we got Dan's tunes. What is awesome, man. Let's see, Tim saying be turning that room into a mandolin cave. Yeah, I think so. This is kind of the music room of sorts, and we even got like a nice kind of sitting room downstairs. We're hoping to have more jams in, so maybe you guys will come over at some point and we'll get to pick some tunes in person. That'd be fun. See, Rapito's from Belfast. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. And let's see here. Yeah. Greg's asking, do we get to keep this room as our music room? Yeah, and this is kind of going to be the new location for a lot of videos that will hopefully be on the channel on the Patreon page before too long. And yeah, we had kind of a nice setup over in Clemson. We were staying there. I guess we stayed there for about a year before buying this house, and we had a nice room kind of dedicated to filming videos and to teaching lessons online, and this is going to be the new spot. So you guys will probably be seeing a lot of me from this room in the future. But let's see. Jaguar saying, Josh G checking in from Raleigh, North Carolina. Awesome. I feel that I don't know what to do with the house vibe since I just moved here. Nice. Yeah. It's kind of weird. Like we had I guess about a truckload of wedding gifts that we never unboxed for about maybe 2 years ago, because we've just been kind of living the transient lifestyle. We've been waiting for Tabitha's green card to come through, and then waiting for the house to come through and all this stuff. So finally went through that stuff a couple days ago. Like, whoa, I didn't realize we had all this stuff. And even with all that stuff, we still haven't filled up nearly any of the rooms in the house. So it's kind of nice to have some space to spread out. And yes, Connie, Finn does have a nice yard to run around in. The first time he's had a fenced-in backyard, and it's wonderful. Yeah, he just loves it. He's living his best life out here, it seems like. Yeah, Joguar is saying, next stream, I want to see one of those crepes. Those are fantastic. If you guys ever come through town and Travelers Rest here, you should definitely check out an awesome spot called Tandem Creperie. And it's kind of the hot spot in town. They sell waffles and crepes and make great coffee. And it seems like it's run by some really nice folks. And we've gotten to know a few people who work there over the past few weeks. And really lovely place. You guys should definitely check it out. Lots to check out here in town, and I keep threatening to start a mandolin camp out here. Call it Travelers Rest Mandolin Camp, because that would be just too good of a name to pass up on. And we'll keep you guys posted once we have enough furniture to seat a few mandolin players and have a jam. We'll try to make it happen. But here. Well, speaking of jamming, why don't we get back to playing another tune here? And here's another one of my favorites that you guys have probably heard me talk about and play a little bit. Why don't we check out the Great Big Scioto here? So, all these tunes are pretty similar in structure, right? Just A section, B section. If you've never played this one before, we're now in the key of G, and there's a kind of some quicker chord changes on this one to watch out for. We just have 4 different chords. You're probably familiar with them all. We have G, D, C, and then an E minor in the B section as well. And the only challenge is these quicker chord changes at the beginning, right? Where you do G, back to D, back to G. And then on the second line, you go to a C chord here, a D chord, back to G. And then the B section is a little bit weird too, because the chords happen at almost uneven points in the song, right? You have 1 measure of G, then 2 measures of D, then 2 measures of C, quick E minor, quick D, back to G. And that's one of the reasons I love this tune, because it feels crooked or it feels uneven, but it's totally square. It's just 8 measure sections like every other fiddle tune that we play. And that's something that I think that's really awesome, when you kind of operate within the confines of a structure and find new ways of making it sound different and making it sound unique. So whoever wrote this one, kudos to you, because I really enjoy playing this one. Of course, you can listen to the great Sam Bush play this one off of a awesome record called Skip, Hop, and Wobble. Someone was mentioning Russ Barenberg earlier, and Russ plays on that record as well as Jerry Douglas and Edgar Meyer, I believe. And is a great mandolin solo on that. That's worth transcribing. Might even have that over on the Patreon page. I forget, but definitely check that out if you haven't already. But here, thinking about ways of stretching yourself on a tune like this, as you go to the jam and maybe you're at a smaller jam and the circle goes around like 3 or 4 times on the same tune, and you have like 3 or 4 opportunities to mess with things, to play something different. The temptation would be to play it safe, just play the melody all the way through, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but it just feels like there might be missed opportunities to explore or to learn from any mistakes or successes that you could make coming up with variations or coming up with improvisations. So I'd encourage you, like, maybe as we go through this tune, try to play it differently every time it comes back around to you. So one way to do it would just be to play maybe the melody in a different octave, right? That's something I like to do. You can do that pretty easily with this melody, where maybe you play the melody an octave lower. thing with the B section, right? So you can play through the entire tune in that lower octave, and that would be something different, even though it's still the melody. That's why I think it's so important when you first learn a tune is to try to map out some different octaves of the melody from the start. That way you're kind of giving yourself that extra option at the jam. So that's one way. Another way to do it would just be to combine those two octaves together in different segments or different links, right? You could play the first A section higher octave. And then go down to the low octave. Do the same thing for the B section if you want to. Or, you know, if you followed any of my videos, you've probably heard me say this a few hundred times. You know, that's one of my first go-tos, is just seeing how you can tear the melody apart and stick it back together. And it doesn't have to be at 8-measure lengths. It could be in 4 measures or 2-measure segments where you're combining the octaves in even uneven ways to get from one point to the next, and kind of use that melody as a tool for creative self-expression. So that would be my first suggestion. And then maybe you know, the third time around, maybe try something different altogether. Like maybe you can start off with the melody for the first A section and then try to improvise something new over the second A section. So it might sound something like this, where you're starting out with pretty much the melody. And then improv. That way you start out with some context for the tune, and I'm sure you could even do better than what I did, but you can use that as a jumping off point, the second A section, to do something different. And trying to think about how you can line up notes within your scale to fit with the chords that are being played, right? So maybe that could be a game plan for now. Like first time through the tune, stick to the melody pretty much. And then the next time it comes back to you to play a turn, see if you can combine different octaves of the melody together. Or, you know, if you already done that, the next step would be to see if you can play that melody up in a higher position. Same notes, just in a different fingering and closed position up the neck. So one of those things for the second time around, just messing with the melody in different ways. And then the third time around, let's see if we can do something where we start with the melody for the first A section, then we improvise for the second A section. Maybe we come back to the melody for the first B section, and then we improvise for the second B section. That way you have just kind of a game plan. Not to say that's the only way to make changes, and not to say that that's a right way to make changes. You know, that's kind of square, honestly, and you might want to change up the form or change up the transitions at less even spots to make it less predictable. But it's a really good framework to start with if you're getting used to this for the first time. So why don't we try that out together, and I'll call out these different ideas as we go through the tune. But let's start off by playing the melody here. I'll kick us off, maybe a little bit faster than Angeline, but not too fast. Something like this. Here we go. All right, your turn to play the melody. A section again, so we're just sticking to that melody this time. section. Another B. Alright, my turn. I'm going to try messing with the melody in different octaves first. To the lower octave. Higher octave for the B. Lower octave. Alright, your turn to do that exact same thing. So lower, higher octave, I should say. To the lower octave of the A section. To the higher octave of the B. To the lower octave of the B. Alright, now my turn. I'm gonna try. Get back to the melody here. Alright, now I'm gonna try improvising. Back to the melody. And then improv. You can do better than me. So melody first. Now take off and try something different for an improv. So back to melody for this B section. And try improvising again. Alright, let's try this melody together now. Nice work, folks. That was a bit of a marathon run on Big Sayota, but I hope it was helpful trying out those different ideas and seeing what it was like just to step off the ledge and see what happens here. So yeah, let's catch up with how you guys are doing here. All right, so Eric saying Big Sayota is the very first tune I learned on the Mandolin. That's so cool. It's one of the first ones that I feel like I really worked on thoroughly. So it feels like one of the first tunes that I learned as well. Yeah, there's just a really fun quality to that one that I love playing. It's one of my go-tos at the jam. It's like some people call them party pieces. That's a really good phrase for it. Where if you have maybe like 5 tunes that you feel really really comfortable with, that you've worked out all the twists and turns on and tried a bunch of different variations, and you just feel a lot more confident on it. It's super helpful to have that just in your back pocket. It's something that you can bring out at the jam. That's another thing for folks getting ready to go to the jam for the first time, or still new to the jam. I'd really recommend that, because usually the way jams work is you sit in a circle and each person takes a turn leading a tune for the jam, and it's always like a dreaded moment when it comes to you and you're just like, oh snap, what do I play? And if you have like 5 tunes just already memorized, just on the tip of your tongue, it's way easier and less stressful just to call one of those tunes and be like, yeah, I can play this one. It's helpful to have a few just in case someone else calls one of those tunes before it gets to you in the circle too. So that would be my challenge to you this week. Before you go to the jam, make sure you have about 5 party pieces or tunes that you'd feel comfortable leading at the jam, and write those down, or like write them in on the back of your hand, just so you can have a reference for it when you get there. Let's see here. Edward, I see you saying learn Star Wars, and I've been hooked on DB Mandolin ever since. Nice to catch up with you again from Waynesville, North Carolina. Now in Northern Ohio. Very cool. That's awesome, Edward. Thanks for learning that arrangement. I never thought I would catch on so well, and I'm ashamed to say I can't play it anymore. I think I learned it for the video that week and kind of quickly moved on to something else and never really played it again. So that's a shame on me. I need to go back and learn it so you can play it better than I can. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the transcriptions and everything too. So Greg has got some questions here. What would you say a bit about string weight? I switched to heavy, 11.5, 1626, and 41 to get more volume. I think the additional effort needed to press the strings is holding me back. Yeah, so that's a good question. I haven't really talked much about that before, and to be honest, I'm not like too into the details about the specific gauges. I usually just kind of find a set of strings that I like and stick with it for a while. And recently, I've been using the Diodario XT strings, which I think are their more recent coated models. And I usually go for the custom medium weights, which I think is something that maybe Chris Thiele helps innovate, where it's like a medium gauge set of strings, but it has heavier strings for the A and the E courses. So I think it's really nice because you can kind of hold down the strings a lot easier on the G string side. For the double wound strings, they feel a little bit lighter on the touch, but then you have the heavier E and the A string, just slightly heavier than the medium gauge. So it's like, I guess, mediums on the G and D, heavies on the A and the E, I guess is how you can think about it. Though I don't remember the specific weights. I'm afraid I don't have a spare pack around me to reference. I should have one. But yeah, I checked those out. I think they're just called XT CMs or XT Custom Mediums, and I like them a lot. They usually last me for, recently at least, they've been lasting me for about like 5 or 6 weeks, which is longer than usual. There's times when I was changing every 2 weeks or every week sometimes, or David Grisman would say he would change his strings before every professional engagement. I just don't have enough money to do that. But no, it's they're great strings, and I'd say mediums are definitely a good place to start. Custom mediums feel pretty similar because it doesn't take a lot of extra work to hold down the lighter A and the E strings. But heavies, I don't know. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with heavies, but they've always have felt a bit constricting, like you mentioned, Greg. It just feels like my hands are having to work a lot harder to get the same, pretty much a similar sound than I would with the medium gauges. And just because the strings are heavier, it doesn't always mean that they're going to be louder too. I feel like it's different from mandolin to mandolin. Sometimes like heavier strings can make it harder to play louder, just because it takes that extra effort with your left hand to hold down the strings, and maybe the instrument doesn't resonate quite as well with the heavier gauges too. So it varies from instrument to instrument, from player to player. There are some mandolin players who use heavy gauges, like I think Ronnie McCurry uses heavy, it's I don't know, it's to each their own, and every player has their own preferences. But I like the custom mediums. So see, Eric's saying that the regular mediums are 11, 15, 26, and 40. And I guess the custom mediums are just like a little bit thicker on the E and the A strings. So nice, thanks for that. Definitely lasts a lot longer than the EJ74s, that's right. I do like the coating. Some people don't like the coating as well. I think it does make the strings last a lot longer. And I don't know, I can't be bothered to change the strings that often. And I don't know, it's probably better for the environment too, not to have to change your strings every week or before every show as well. But anyways, I hope that helps. Adaptive saying, I love heavy strings. I feel like they can get louder without rattling. That's great, yeah. The physics is really not that they are any louder, but that they have more mass to move and allow for harder picking. Yeah, so try it out and see what you think. Again, it all depends on your style of playing too. Like if you're going for a really loud sound and you want volume over ease of function with your left hand, then that's something to check out. I don't really recommend any beginners starting with heavier strings. I'd recommend lighter or mediums to start with. And for anyone's interested, check out the custom mediums. It's kind of like a happy medium, pun intended, between heavy and mediums as well. So check that out. Yeah, let's see. George is saying, I use heavy D'Addario, work really well on my X-Brace Gilchrist. Nice. Yeah. I bet that sounds really punchy. That's awesome. Let's see, and we got another comment from Micah here. Micah Bassett saying, lifelong musician here, picked up mandolin to pass the time during COVID. Any key advice as I'm just getting started? So far, this is the best instructional content I've found on YouTube. So props. Oh man, thank you, Micah. That's really kind of you to say. Well, if you're just getting started, welcome, and watch out, because it'll devour all your free time and kind of take over your life if you're not careful. But it's really fun, and I love the community the most about this instrument, just the surrounding people, and how tightly knit the online community is in particular. So thanks for joining, and welcome. Yeah. So advice for just getting started. I'd say if you're a lifelong musician, you definitely have all the tools necessary to excel at the mandolin. The only things I'd really emphasize are probably the right hand and the left hand technique on the mandolin itself, because even differences from guitar or from violin, if you play either of those can really hold you back if you're not aware of them right at the beginning. And it takes a little while to kind of fine tune some of the mechanics of what's going on with the mandolin in particular. And I'd say focus on the right hand first too, and make sure that you're getting your pick strokes where they need to be. And if you understand music theory and how the beats work in a measure, that's going to be really helpful. But basically, all your downstrokes should line up in the beats of the measure. So as you play through Big Scioto, I'm playing all those downs on beats. 1, 2. I can't even talk and play at the same time. I should know better than to try this. But 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's really crucial to getting the right feel and the right emphasis for your mandolin. And if that's something that you're already comfortable with, then that's awesome. I'd say that's the main setback I see in a lot of mandolin players when they first get started on the instrument and aren't familiar with the technique. But make sure that be really, really specific about that when you're first getting started, to build up that habit. And eventually, I don't even think about that anymore. It just becomes so second nature that you can play things without having to worry about it. So yeah, that would be my main advice. And check out the left hand too, and make sure you're fingering the frets consistently, and trying to basically cover 2 frets of territory with each finger is a good place to start. Your index finger should always play the notes on the 1st and the 2nd fret of each string, and then your middle finger on the 3rd and the 4th, ring finger on the 5th and the 6th, and then from there you'll get to kind of know the variations of that technique, and chances where you can break that rule and when not to. So there's a video I put up a while back. If you want to check it out, it's called 10 tips for techniques, 10 technique tips for beginners is the name of the video, and I think it should be on my channel. And I'm also going through kind of a beginner lesson series where kind of work with more entry level repertoire and some other technique aspects that might be helpful too. So it's all on the channel, and I hope you enjoy working through some of that stuff. Let's see, a couple other questions here from Scheme 20 saying, do you record that live stream? Yeah, so I actually do record these live streams if you're tuning in for the first time. I usually make this a weekly thing when I can, and it's been traveling a little bit recently, so it's been more like bi-weekly, but it's been great doing these. It's hard to believe this is like the 30th or the 31st, I forget. So thanks for tuning in for those folks who have been watching all year. But I do record these. They're not available to the public after they're streamed, but you can get access to them over on my Patreon page. And there's a link in the description below. And of course, you can get the transcriptions for all the tunes we've been playing in this stream too over there as well. So check that out. All right, so let's get back to playing a little bit here, and I'll come back to chatting in a bit here. But I was trying to think of some other tunes that we haven't played in a little bit here, and was just looking at this tune with another student recently, and I thought it might be fun to play this one here. Have you guys been picking Chinkapin Hunting anytime recently? Let's see. Yeah, so this is one of those tunes that has different versions. In fact, there's a whole other tune called Chinkapin Hunting in the key of A major instead of the key of D major like we have here. But this is probably the more common version that you'll encounter in bluegrass circles. It's been one of my favorites that I've been playing recently too. Yeah, shout out to Bob if you're watching in here. I was working with Bob on this for an online lesson yesterday, and it's doing great. Yeah, this is another one that I think is really awesome to play in different octaves. The original octave of the A section you can play here. But you can also play a higher octave here. Same with the B section. The B section is a bit higher to start with. But you can also play it in a lower octave. So, avail yourself to those options. See if you can combine them together in different ways. Try to improvise in various different phrase links and connect it back to the melody. That's always hard. I find it hard to start with the melody, improv, and then get back to the melody, because you really are held accountable for what you play and how you get back on track later on. So definitely worthwhile trying that out. And I'll leave this up to you. See if you can combine those different elements we talked about for Big Scioto and new phrase links or new ways for Chinkapin Hunting here. And if you don't know the chords here, they're pretty simple. I think we've played all these before today. We have D, maybe we haven't played A yet. That's an easy A. It's like 2, 2, open, open. And then G chord, and then we do have one little E minor chord in the B section as well to watch out for. But yeah, let's try this one out here. I'll go something like this. Here we go. Go. Get back on track. Take another pass. Let's play this melody together now. Oh man, I do that harmonic thing too much. But hey, that was fun. I really enjoyed getting to play that with you folks, and thanks for playing that a bit faster too. I hope that was a good challenge for you guys. I think that's always a big challenge about going to the jam is just keeping up with folks like that. But hey, nice work, and let's come over here and see how you guys are doing now. All right, let's see here. Oh, cool. I see Scheme St. Bro, I have a wooden mandolin and it's not expensive, approximately $60. Do you think it's enough for me? By the way, I'm a beginner. Yeah, good question. I think a beginner mandolin is just something that you need to get started on and to see if you like it. And then from there you can kind of, you can see if it's something that you do like and invest in something later on. So you don't need the fanciest thing to start on. As long as it stays in tune somewhat and it does the trick for you at the beginning, gets you hooked, and that's the main thing. And you don't need a really big name brand to get started on either. You don't even need a big name brand to have a really good, I just trust your instinct on that there. But let's see here. Flaming Fox 01 is saying, hi, I've been watching some of your videos today. So I got my first mandolin yesterday. I was glad to see that you're live now. Very cool. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in and for checking out my videos, and congrats on the new mandolin. It's awesome to see. There's been a lot of people who've been picking up the mandolin with all this extra downtime at home, and even with all the uncertainty now, that's been one silver lining. It's just a lot of people finding music, and a lot of people getting sucked into a good thing here. So yeah, that's great. Let's see. Gwen's saying the image is pixelated now. Apologies. I think it might be the internet here, but hopefully it'll catch up with us here. But let's see. I think we're about wrapping up anyways here. I appreciate you folks tuning in for the first stream here at the new house, and will be lots of more tunes to be had here in the future. And be on the lookout for more videos coming your way soon. We will not be streaming next week, but we'll be streaming 2 weeks again from today, and be sure to tune in for that. But hey, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for playing. And it's been a lot of fun hanging. I hope you guys have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.